Hello everyone, welcome back in my channel. So today I am going to explain the another topics of method of psychology. So today I have decided that we know about the clinical method. So at first we know about the clinical method. So at first we know what is clinic. We in our day-to-day life we go to the medicine shop or go to the hospital or go to the any kinds of medical shop. So its method is some related to the clinical method. So let's know about this. So the clinical method is basically focus the understanding or adjustment pattern, adjustment problem. So in this clinical method we know about the human mind psychological method as well as the adjustment problem of human life. So we can say that clinical method basically focus on the understanding adjustment problem as well as we know that the case study is also related to the clinical method, and we know this case study also linked with the case history method. So at first we know about the clinical method as well as this clinical method also informations about the behavioral problem. So this information is this clinical method based on the behavioral problem. In numerical section we can say that this behavioral problem can identified by the maladjustment problem. So maladjustment child or maladjustment human being can create anything in the society. So this maladjustment people also suffer this adjustment problem. So what is the maladjustment? Like antisocial, like do not control their emotion, their backwardness. This is the classification of the maladjustment people or maladjustment child. So we know about the clinical method. Now I am going to explain the characteristics of clinical method. So in this clinical method, first characteristic is application to the individual case. So we know this method is the totally is adjustment problem or maladjustment pattern based. So this application of this individual cases, many people suffer many mental pressure or mental uncomfortableness. So this is also limited or this is also based on the individual cases. So this is the characteristics of the clinical method. So the next is who has some problem. At first we have identified those people who has some problem. At first identify those people who has suffering this problem like anxiety, like antisocial, like emotional disbalance, like backwardness, etc. So next third characteristics is diagnosis and treatment. When at first we classified them, then we can diagnose or treatment them. So applicant or a individual must be identify the cases, then then choose the problem, what types problem he has or she suffering, and next diagnosis or treatment. And in the last characteristics is give pleasure. Always give him a pleasure situation, give him a joyful situation. So this is the main treatment of the clinical method or maladjustment people method or adjustment problem related people. So this is the characteristics of clinical method. So now we know about the techniques of clinical method. So these techniques also based on the physical environment. So physical, at first we focus on the physical environment. When a person also suffer this problem, that times his physical change also be noticed. At times the physical examination or the physical attitudes will be changed, and this is the technique for know the he is suffering any many kinds of maladjustment or others, and after that go to the expert and examine by him. So next is the case history. As a counselor, as a counselee, when a person also suffer this problem, that times he go for a counselor, and the counselor examine the counselee, and he know about the history of know about this problem and know about his past basis related problem. So this is another technique for clinical method. So next is the clinical interview. When you go to the clinic, that times the doctor or the expert also talking to you, and also know that also want to know that what is your problem and what are you suffer for that, etc., etc. So this is the another technique of the clinical method. Now we know about the another technique of clinical method is the abilities and attitude. Every persons have ability and have aptitudes. So experts will know about the abilities and aptitude. So in this case study method, that another technique is the abilities and aptitude. So this is the 4 techniques of clinical methods. Now we know about the merits of experimental method. So first merit, but efficient and useful method is involved to the misbehavior. So misbehavior and useful method also involve this method. Next, incentive study regarding the individual behavior. So incentive is must be needed here. So there are the 2 merits of the clinical method. Now we go for limitation or demerits. Now we know about the limitation. So number 1 limitation is this method is quite narrow. This method is quite narrow. And number 2, what is the number 2? The information given by the parents, friends, any kinds of teachers, this information is given by them. So it is the another limitations of this clinical method. Now we know about the another limitation of clinical method. This is that need of special treatment teacher. So in this situation, when a student suffer for his maladjustment section, that times he also need a trained teacher, and who know how to handle this teacher. So this teacher is very necessary for him or her. Next, last delimitation is enrich the theory is not possible. Only enrich the theory is not possible to remove the limitations. So need proper action for this remove the limitation. So this is a framework we can look after that. At first we know about the what is the clinical method. Secondly, we know about the characteristics of the clinical method. Thirdly, we know about the techniques of the clinical method. And fourth and fifth, know about the merits and demerits of the clinical method. This total session is based on the five sides. So number 1, what is definition, characteristics, techniques, merits and demerits. So class, today I have quit this class here, and next day I will come here with in a new topic. So bye.